So let's talk about a single model that costs more than the entire squad that he used to be in. Another tantalising teaser of a mysterious Daemon engine, some made-to-order orcs and tower prices, and another look at some models that could likely be revealed this weekend. Hello and welcome back to Warspets Tactics, where today we're doing just another quick news roundup, a few things with Games Workshop's releases and prices, plus 2 teasers of models to come. First up, amongst all the rest of the Chaos Space Marine release, one model that I hadn't touched upon the price of yet was the Cultist Firebrand. This is the one that we didn't know the price for in advance, given that he's a Games Workshop online only model and they don't tend to release prices of that quite as early as some of the ones to the discount retailers. He's a great big cultist with a massive flamethrower. Kind of interesting that he's become a character model in his own right. I believe back in 9th edition we saw what looked like a draft datasheet for him, but when the codex came out it turned out that he was still going to be part of the same unit. Unless he winds up being very cheap in the final points cost, his rules seem fairly tame. Essentially that massive flamer gets 2 heavy flamers worth of firepower, which I guess is threatening enough for a character, but I'm not entirely convinced by the other things that he adds to his units. He triggers a battle shock test when he hits something with that big balefire pike, and otherwise allows you to re-roll leadership tests. It might well add you a little bit of reliability as to not getting hit by the mortal wounds, or help to pass the leadership test for the Dark Pact, though I feel like he's a bit of a hard sell for that versus the Dark Commune, which just adds a lot more for the 65 points I think. That invulnerable save and the big advance and charge and things are all quite nice. I think the miniature is fun enough. He originally came out in Blackstone Fortress, quite a dynamic and chunky-ish model for a normal human, with his flamethrower belching out a great big burst of fire. In a channel poll the other week it looked like around about 20% of Chaos Collectors were at least considering picking one up, just out of interest for a new model release I guess. By Games Workshop's pricing, it turns out he was £21, €27 or $35, which admittedly is certainly on the lower end for their character pricing. A lot of cheaper support characters seem to be a little bit more expensive than this, things like the Astra Militarum Commissar who's £22.50, €30 though it is the same price at $35 US. I feel like this guy is maybe one of the best examples of the sheer weirdness of Games Workshop character pricing though. I had seen a bit of debate online as to the strangeness that this guy was previously just a slightly fancy unit leader, originally coming out in Blackstone Fortress alongside some cultists with ranged weapons, and it was perhaps a bit odd that they were using the same model that came in a bigger box as a new standalone release, but it was really underlined to me when someone sent in the fact the difference in pricing between the Cultist Firebrand and the entire box of Cultists, which I must admit doesn't look like a particularly good case study for Warhammer value over time. Looking back at the discount retailers that still have a listing for this, even if it's long out of stock, it seems that at least in the UK this was £20 just last year, and in the box set you got the Cultist Firebrand and then 7 different cultists, some of them with special weapons, the ones that Games Workshop removed from the Cultist datasheet. I feel like this might be one of the single most clear and slightly weird examples that really underlines Games Workshop's slightly strange character pricing model, where basically if you have one individual model that is designated a character choice for their army, then for the amount of plastic on the sprue they will charge something in the region of £20 to £30 for a single model, the same price as you might expect for an entire squad full of lighter hardy troops. There is maybe something a little bit special about the fact that a box set of 8 models was £20 last year, and then this year Games Workshop are charging you £21 just for one of those models, even if it is the big central one. In reality though, the price difference is actually slightly worse than it sounds, given that that Cultist Warband was available at discount retailers. So for most people trying to pick up that Cultist Warband, they probably could have got it at like £17 or so, meaning that the price disparity is just a little bit bigger than it looks. In any case, an interesting little case study there, just kind of underline just how arbitrary character model pricing is. Otherwise, 40k news and teasers over the past week, it looks like we've got another part of some Daemon engine. A little while back I featured this one in the video with the sort of clawed hand type thing that really does bear a fair few design features to the Men of Iron Claw, the one sported by the Imperial Servitor again for Blackstone Fortress. The joints and the casing are quite similar, though the styling's a bit different and it's painted differently, maybe looking like a kind of chaos version of the same sort of thing. It could just be using the same sort of design elements and being part of a different miniature altogether, though even from the bits that we can see, it does look both chaos and sort of technologically focused. On Games Workshop's Rumour Engine teaser on Tuesday, it seems that we've got another shot of the same model. I believe that this is probably the same model, just given the styling of technology, the paint job, plus the sort of barbed curved blade thing. Again, it does look kind of Chaos and looks fairly similar to Chaos Knight sort of designs, with both the curved blades and the little spikes sticking off them. That's a feature both on the clawed hand type thing, and now it looks like perhaps like a foot of the same war machine. I'm still kind of interested to see what that slightly unusual weather paint scheme turns out to be as well. It does look a little bit different to things that we've seen before. The weathering on some of the other Chaos Knights isn't really quite the same as that. Again, still really quite interested to see what this could turn out to be. Could be all sorts of things at this point, really, I think. Maybe we could be seeing a new version of a Man of Iron under Vashtor's command for a Dark Mechanicum force, or even just a single unit. It could literally be a new variant of Chaos Knight, or something from Necromunda, or even a World Eater's Demon engine don't seem impossible. I feel like if I had to guess after seeing both of those images, then maybe I'd go for Chaos Knights. Though whatever it is, it does look to be something pretty interesting for the Dark Gods. Otherwise, for Games Workshop releases, they've come out with some made-to-order Orcs and Tau. The way these work being that you place an order with them, and they make the number that get ordered, and then they show up sometime within 180 days by their calculation, though often it's a fair bit sooner. The theme for the Orcs and Tau one seemed to be at least a fair few units that got sent to Legends in the latest codex. We've got Captain Badrook and Boss Zagstruck from the Orcs. Pretty cool characters, though it's a shame they didn't get a nice new shiny plastic sculpt. They seem to be priced a little bit cheaper than your average plastic character. These ones made of resin, I believe. There's also the Tide War gun rig, which still has a current codex data sheet. I don't think that Games Workshop will ever make fortifications particularly interesting in terms of rules, so it's more of a fun and fluff sort of thing, with admittedly a quite fun big gun. Otherwise, there's some Farsight Enclave shoulder pads. They're $15, so aren't enormous, but I guess are a direct added cost on top of some regular Fire Warriors. The two Ethereals that went out of production, plus Commander Longstrike as well. I believe Ornshire is still cast in metal. These ones are all on sale till 20th of May if you did want to have the chance to get your hands on any of these sculpts. For the most part, the prices do seem kind of in line with other character releases. Ornvar being a bit more expensive, as I guess they're charging maybe for 3 characters there. Not sure if some of these might be reincarnated in plastic at a later date. I guess it happened for the Jump Pack Chaos Lord. Zagstruck and Badrook both had really quite big lore segments in the latest Orc Codex. I feel like with all of these Finecast models going away one by one, there's at least a reasonable chance that they release a new version of them when they need a nice, easy individual character release for a faction. Perhaps in a future update where they're not getting a big model release wave. It seems Games Workshop is slowing the pace down a bit in terms of releases this upcoming week. I guess we just had the fairly big Chaos release wave with all the battle forces that didn't turn up, but looks like they're going for Middle-earth strategy battle game with a few made-to-order releases for that. There's a couple of Heroes of Rohan and Defenders of Helm's Deep here, plus a few more individual character miniatures, again in the usual one and done. These will be going up for pre-order on the 25th, I believe. Finally, for teasers of things coming this weekend, yesterday Games Workshop showed us this mysterious and disturbing head crab type thing, floating ominously along on top of a flight stand. I guess it's not entirely impossible it could be something weird for Genestealer cults, though most people were feeling that it had appearances in keeping with something else rather weirder, maybe looking superficially kind of similar to an enslaver, though whether or not it's just some sort of disturbing fauna from Necromunda, maybe ash waste or some hidden vault or something, remains to be seen. Otherwise, one teaser for Necromunda coming this weekend is probably this Saar gang. This teaser was revealed at Necromunda, and I kind of glossed over it a bit at the time. It gave us a whole bunch of silhouettes, which appear to be a new plastic kit coming for the game, and with turning up the brightness and contrast on the image a little bit, you can see a bit of the detailing. Seems pretty likely that these miniatures will be revealed at the weekend as one of the Necromunda reveals, if there's more than one. From general discussion I've seen, it looks like it's attributed to the Saars. One of the guns that the chap towards the middle is holding up did look really quite similar to theirs, even I could recognise that one. It appears they're getting a sniper as well as a few other operatives. Will be interesting to see the miniatures in full. Necromunda often has some interesting bits that could be good for kit bashing for 40k things, particularly things like other Astra Militarum regiments or maybe Genestealer cults, as well as adding more cool stuff to that game of course. In any case, I'll try and cover these in full along with the other good stuff that we see at the weekend. Most likely we'll be seeing some Genestealer cults and sisters goodness. In any case, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. What do you make of those weird cultist prices? What do you think that Daemon engine is? And let me know any thoughts as to the made to order range and the Necromunda teaser. If you've enjoyed the video, then feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics. I'll certainly keep the regular 40k videos coming. I do tend to post new ones just about every day, and I'll certainly be back later in the week to check in on the reveal show. Finally, if you have been enjoying all the videos on the channel, I would just like to mention that Auspex Tactics does have a Patreon page as well, and you can find that linked in the video description if you'd like to help support and keep all of these coming. Channel patrons do get a fair few advantages, seeing certain videos early, regular votes to see what sort of things come next on the channel, and automatic entry into the regular prize giveaways with a chance to win some big model kits each month. If any of that sounds good to you, or you'd just like to help support, the link is down in the video description. In any case, a massive thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.